We're going to call this meeting to order. This is a special town hall meeting of the Williston City Council. It is Tuesday, January 17th. It is 4:30 p.m. And I will ask the city clerk to please call the roll.
Mayor Robinson.
I don't know about him, but
I'm sorry, Mayor Goodman. I apologize. Council President Jones.
Here.
Vice President Robinson.
Here.
Councilmember Cox.
Here.
Councilmember Bullock.
Here.
Councilmember Ross.
Here.
City Manager Terry Bovard. Attorney Kirsten Ballou, she's absent. City Clerk Latricia Wright, here, and all other staff.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time we're going to stand for an opening prayer and a pledge of allegiance by the mayor.
Lord, we're gathering together tonight as a community, and we ask your hand of patience and guidance on each and every person. Let our passion be directed by peace. Let our knowledge be increased. I ask that each one of these people that have concerns, that their concerns be answered, and that their decisions be made with knowledge and peace in their heart. I ask this in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much.
We do appreciate all of you coming tonight to express your comments and concerns about the project we may have that we have on the agenda tonight. I want to also make comment that there are 3 or 4 more chairs over here if anybody wants some. There's also an overflow right across the hall that has chairs and a TV screen so you can see and hear everything that happens in case it gets too much for you to stand up. And I will just say that we're here tonight because Mr. Mirza and the doctor came to us at a previous city council meeting and they made a proposal which they have subsequently followed up with a petition for annexation and payment for that petition for the old middle school. What we told them at that time was we couldn't move forward any farther until we heard how the neighbors, how the neighborhood, how the community, how the city felt about that. Because it is very different and it borders on some residential areas that are really close. So we felt like it was really important to stop right where we were and go forward and ask people how they felt. So that's why we're here. And our first thing on our agenda tonight is for Mr. Mirza to come and make a presentation to us. They believe he has a PowerPoint. I will say the first time he came, we talked for 1 hour and 10 minutes. I've told him tonight he has 15 to 20 minutes to do that same presentation. So we're going to let him give us the basic facts, and then if you have questions, we'll go from there. If you will, please state your name and city of residence for the record.
Thank you, Madam President. My name's... I'm good, right?
You have to talk right into it.
I'm sorry. My name's Ali Mirza.
Can't hear you.
No.
Is it on?
Okay, now it should be...
Yes.
Now we hear you.
As long as this red is on, we know you're working.
Ah, perfect. Thank you everyone for coming to this meeting. My name's Ali Mirza. I'm currently residing in New Jersey, in Ridgewood, and I partnered up with Dr. Zaidi, who is a resident of Florida and St. Pete's. looking at the attendance, I can clearly see already that a lot of you are very passionate about this topic, about this project, and it is a good sign of a thriving community that you're all over here. So I really thank you all for coming and welcome you, and hopefully I can clarify some of the concerns that you might have. Now, given that I have 15 minutes, I will breeze through some of these points in the presentation. So I will try being slightly more concise than I guess I was last time around. In terms of the project, what we are trying to do is we are looking at the former middle school in Williston, which is currently privately owned. As far as my understanding goes, for the past 4 years, it hasn't been used for any specific purpose other than some community engagement, which I'm aware of. Parts of the building are in exponential decay. However, what we plan to do is come into the area and purchase this property and redevelop it. So within the existing structures, what we want to do is repurpose them for adaptive reuse as an addiction recovery and mental health facility. So what we want to do is we want to build this inpatient facility with a comprehensive program, which is looking at treating vulnerable medical patients, because what we see is mental health and substance abuse past as two sides of the same coin. And hence, I partnered up with Dr. Zaidi, who has had about 30 years, well over 30 years of experience in this area. He's a board certified psychiatrist, and and within that experience, within that sort of lengthy career that he's had, his primary focus has been in treating our veterans, and that has been through facilities at Fort Myers and other facilities in Florida. And one of his mission statements when he was last over here, he articulated that what he wants to do is, with this facility, have a focus, not an exclusive one, but have a focus on providing special treatment to our veterans, and as a result of which we would have a military wing, a veteran wing to support them, for the issues that that they're facing, and also provide this, all these years of experience, this medical expertise that he's accumulated, and create this multidisciplinary team that effectively is going to provide the structured program that prevents people from relapsing. And not only that, what we want to do is also give them a second chance at life. Because I will elaborate on this further. What we're trying to do is not looking at this entirely just from a medical detox point of view. We're looking at further counseling, treatment, inpatient programs. We're looking at recreational therapies. It would be effectively a retreat whereby we'd be providing them equine therapy, arts, music, therapy, the whole list of therapies that we have in our mind, which are listed, tabulated in one of the slide deck, which I hope all of you have a copy of. And what we're doing is not only that, we also want to provide them some vocational training. So if people go through our program, we want to minimize the chance of relapse and also maximize the opportunity for them to go back into society, go back to their domicile of origin once treatment is complete, and be economically active participants. So that's roughly what we're trying to do over here. As about myself as well, one of the slide decks, I've listed out Dr. Zaidi's background, my own background. I've worked at different organizations, evaluating the risk, helping organizations manage risk. That's been in Europe and over here more recently in New York. And one of the things that I've learned as a result is, and I hope that you can, in your own analysis, formulate this when you think about a project, because what you want to do is, you can borrow, you don't have to, you can think about it any other way, but at least what I like to think about it is look at the upside scenario, baseline scenario, adverse and severely adverse. Now, if we dwell on the severely adverse, you can rightfully ask me any questions and I will try to address those. But what I would encourage you is to also look at the weighting you provide to those scenarios. So if you say a severely adverse scenario, in my opinion, would be no more than 1%, a baseline would be 50%, adverse maybe slightly, 9%, and then upside again, you can provide a weighting over there. So what I'm trying to encourage you to do is think about these different scenarios, which might, possible outcomes which might arrive in the future as a result of our involvement in the community, and what weighting do you attribute? Because I think there's a very positive story. There's a very positive case for us to be here, and that's what I want to talk about. What we can do to the community, what we will bring to the community, and the engagement that we are talking about committing to, which is also listed in one of the slides.
If you will, before you go any farther, would you turn your podium toward us instead of the audience?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I really would like for all comments and questions to come through this board and not directly to the podium.
Sure, Madam
I
President.
appreciate that.
Okay.
And Ms. Latricia, if you'll move through the mission, I believe he's already stated the mission. It's not working, I'm sorry. It is in your packet though.
Yes. I would sort of, if you guys could go to the statement by Dr. Zaidi, and I'd encourage you to look at that. So, if I could paraphrase what he's trying to say over here is that, I think he's calling out the fact that he has this extensive experience and his service, dealing with mental health issues and substance abuse, but also I think, he makes a very passionate case whereby someone who's been treating, veterans, different patients from different backgrounds, his own son, unfortunately fell victim to substance abuse, and sort of nursing him back to sobriety. I think it's someone who understands the pain people go through, not only the individual, but the families that go through in terms of bringing people, nursing them back into sobriety. And I think that's where we distinguish ourselves as well, because this is someone who's gone through this process, not only as a professional, but from a personal perspective as well, and wants to, put down roots in Williston and leave a legacy, therefore. The next slides, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are about, you can look at this in your own time. What I'm trying to make a case over there is the problems that you have with substance abuse. It is an area, it is something which is underserved. I would like to make the case that particularly in Florida as well, this is underserved. There are correlations to be drawn. If you're an empiricist, you would see correlations to be drawn between mental health, substance abuse, and effectively suicide rates as well, and incarceration rates, and that is effectively the case that I'm trying to make in those slides, and I would encourage you all to take a look at them. So then I would just go to the project proposal, which is slide 10. I'm not sure if your slides are numbered. They probably are not. Project proposal. I wanted to yeah. So again, just to reiterate, the proposal is to convert the former middle school in Williston into a state-of-the-art medical facility, and also that's providing inpatient, outpatient addiction and mental health treatment. Not only will we give patients a second chance in life, but also reinvigorate the former school building and support the local community through our employment and engagement program. So the next two slides that I have in terms of the service offering, what I'm trying to do over there is I'm trying to tabulate and explain the range and breadth of services that we are going to be offered. This is derived from our understanding of addiction and of mental health issues, because what we want to do is we want to provide this comprehensive program, not a short burst medical detox, which inevitably leads to a relapse. What we want to do is we want to complement this by a whole range of different therapies, a structured program that prevents relapse, that combines vocational training, that also looks at recreational therapies, as I said, cognitive therapies, so on and so forth. So I think it's just this whole mix of therapies that we're looking to provide over slightly longer periods of time for our residents, a slightly higher level of engagement, and we're looking towards getting that, and we believe that as a result of this we will have a higher success rate. So where do our patients come from? So our patients are coming from professional medical referrals. That is the vast majority of our patients. That's where they're going to be coming from. I can give you an example. For example, the Veterans Hospital in Gainesville, we would be getting referrals directly from them. Dr. Zaidi, through various channels, has already tried to approach them. There is some very positive feedback that he's received. I spoke with him before I had left through those channels. That this is something that they would look forward to, because it is something that they need as well. So that's one example where we're getting people from. There'll be other clinics, doctors referring patients. There could be other. So that's where the vast majority of our patients are going to come from, through digital marketing. Normally, it could happen that families could get in touch with us, but then there is still a process through which they would come to us as well. And then the last but not least, this is not a demographic that we are looking to target, but we wanted to provide full transparency. There could be people who come in through options. It wouldn't be. It could be like a court could give you an option. If you are having caught driving under the influence, then the court would give you an option to either go to facilities such as ours, for alcohol rehabilitation, or effectively fixed prison time. So it is a tiny fraction of our patients could potentially come from there, but that is not a demographic that we're targeting. It's not where we expect to receive our patients from. And finally, at the end of the treatment period, we expect our patients to return to their county of domicile, either within Florida or outside of Florida. And for that purposes, we would facilitate transportation for them to go back. And what I'd like to also say is that this is a voluntary service that we're providing. So we're not a Baker Act facility. We're not going to mandate them to be there. We're not going to detain them. But however, people, should they wish to not continue with the treatment, can advise us that they wish to terminate the treatment. We can have those discussions. There's a process that we could pursue. We could also discuss with the next of kin, and as a result, we could move on to, we could arrange transportation for them to return. So that would be the issue. So finally, there are a couple of things that, in terms of the positive stories that I want to talk to the community about. Once the site is fully operational, that is, we have full capacity, and it will take us a little bit of time to get there, but once it is fully operational, we've done a breakdown of, okay, what is mandated by, DCF requirements, and then, what is it that's on the site, on a site of this scale, because we need 24-hour care, 24-hour presence. So, for one particular job, for example, you need 3 shifts, you need 3 people to cover the 24 hours, right? So effectively, what we would need is, we would expect to have approximately 100 employees overall, once the site is fully functional. And I believe that we would be bringing employment to the local community. What we're willing to also do is discuss with the city if there are job advertisement opportunities within the city of Williston. I mean, if there's, I'll have to, talk to you about those afterwards. If there are opportunities over here, there's a jobs board, and we can advertise. So we would do that. That's something which we would be looking to advertise. For us, it makes business sense that we get as much of our employment workforce from Williston as we can. That is, that would be our desire. Naturally, where that can't be met or the requirements can't be met, then we would be looking towards other areas.
If you will tell us the type of employees you would be looking to hire.
I will just in the next slide, Madam President. I do have a breakdown. I will tell you just in the next slide. Let me just finish this, Madam President, if you don't mind. The few other bullet points. I know that this site is also being used for. There are very good basketball facilities, if I'm okay, if I understand that correctly. And the question was, right, I mean, we don't want to deprive, the residents of the opportunity to use that site. So as a result, what we have offered to do is to budget $100,000 as a donation for the phase construction of the community park, and we would be looking towards building a basketball court over there. So we are actively reaching out to the community. I know there are some concerns with the community, and that's what we want to do. Secondly, I think down the line there are other initiatives. Not only are we bringing employment, it's also the tax base. The tax that we're going to be paying. We are a for-profit. We would be paying tax in the city. And also what we would be looking towards doing is, once we have established our roots, I mean, this wouldn't be the end of our community engagement. We would be looking towards engaging with the community further through other initiatives that we, that might come along the line. I mean, it could be, athletic sponsorship programs. We will have to get into discussions on those, and we could consider those. There's a very good initiative I saw, which is the Student of the Month. Perhaps, we could have those discussions, and we could see where can we engage further. In terms of providing privacy to the community, the site is going to be secure. We will have security officers. It will be fenced. We would want to provide privacy to our neighbors, and also in terms of fencing our site, what we would want to do is we're happy to have a consultation on that and build something which is architecturally palatable and blends into the surroundings. So, in other words, it's not an eyesore. So basically, what I want to say is, I want to reassure the community that, our facilities for medically vulnerable patients that are coming through professional medical referrals, it is secure. We have the right teams involved. We have the right workforce involved. It is not going to be any detention center. We are going to make sure that every possible angle is looked at through the consultations and hiring of professional service providers, and that's and I think that hopefully assuages some of the concerns. The last slide, sorry, is just the staff breakdown. At peak capacity, we expect about 100 strong workforce. A lot of the employment that we have, we would need nurses. So you can take a look in terms of the breakdown that I've tried to do. We need mental health counselors, social workers. We need registered nurses, advanced registered nurse practitioners, licensed practical nurse, certified nurse assistants. We need operational staff. We need cooks, kitchen help, cleaners. We need we need lab technicians. We need, we will need people in finance. We will need people in HR. We will have to have this entire setup, right? Different therapists, as an art therapist, equine therapist. We need to bring those people and formulate that team over here. So those are the range of jobs that we are looking to bring. to the community. How did I do on time, Madam President?
That's good. That's the slide you added since you were here last. I wasn't sure it was in here.
No, it wasn't. I did add it.
You did.
Yeah,
I didn't see it before. I didn't realize it was here. Okay. I guess we will. Tell the community what it will look like if you're driving down the road and your facility is there.
Well, I mean, the only thing in terms of, in terms of the property will be fenced. This is for security because we have medically vulnerable patients in there. However, in terms of bringing it back to life, we will renovate it, refurbish it. We will talk to design build firms. I was already in discussion with them before this. It will be generally, if there's concern, there shouldn't be so much concern. You will have some parking because of the staff that's working over there. Generally, in terms of patients, we don't expect patients to park up there, so you wouldn't see that sort of traffic because it's an inpatient facility, which would be like a drop-off point. They'll come in, they'll go through the process through medical referrals or through the family bringing them. They'll go through the process. So we don't expect any sort of clogged roads or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's open this up for public participation. And if you will, as I said before, if you will direct, even though your question is for Mr. Mirza, if you will direct your question to the chair, he will hear it. I think it will be more organized and effective if we do it in that manner. And if you will, if you have a question, give it to us, because we probably have the same question you do. Yes, ma'am. If you will, Aaron, is there an extra station we can set up with a microphone? Let's set up Mr. Ross, if we can borrow the end of your council desk, if you want to come right to that location and ask your question, then Mr. Mirza will not have to step away from the mic.
Thank you. Good evening.
If you will, state your name and city of residence.
My name is Juanita Ombrister, and I am a resident of Williston, Florida. And I have several questions, and I will say that in the overflow room where I started, I might have missed some things because the mic over there is just not working.
That's good. Go
They
ahead.
cannot hear. They cannot hear what's saying, so I walked over. So my first question is, who owns the building and the properties currently?
Who wants to answer that?
I currently own
And you are?
Corey Lamb.
Pardon?
My name's Corey Lamb.
Corey Lane.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're a resident of Williston?
Yes, ma'am.
So you own the property?
Yes, ma'am.
So would they be purchasing the property from you?
That is correct.
Okay. And so with that said, I know I heard him talk about renovating the property, which I assume it would need. I also heard him talk about the financial impact for the city. And is the impact financially for the city or is it for the county?
They have requested annexation. That's the very first question I asked him when he came before. Why are you here? It's in the county.
Okay.
And they said they had been to the county. The county told them it would be a couple of years before they got around to doing what they needed them to do in order to annex it. I think the long and short of what I got was they don't have a zoning classification that even meets the needs of that facility. So they would have to reestablish an entirely new zoning category before they even started considering the process. I will say that it would have to be rezoned here too. So whether it was annexed or not, it would have to be rezoned if it was, because it's currently sitting at the county zoning. I think I've verified that with my planning department already.
Okay.
They would have to again go through that process here as well.
Okay. And so is there, let's just say.
Excellent questions, by the way.
Let's just say you approve this next week. What would be a timeline for this all taking place?
Sorry, so if I understand your question correctly, you're saying what would be the timeline post rezoning, right? Once it's rezoned, we have the building permit. What is the timeline for a project after that
Right.
to really open up? So this would have to depend on, our design build firm and the construction firms that we have. As you can appreciate, some of the structures over there are a little bit dilapidated, so they do need a lot of work, and we have to build an ACA approved, DCF approved site, because it is, we need to maintain certain standards, so that does take time. So even it could be, just the construction part could be around 9 months. It could be anywhere 6 to 9 months if we decide to just do parts of it first, open up, and then do it in phases. So it could be anywhere between 6 to 9 months before we start opening up.
Accepting patients.
Excuse me, sorry?
Accepting patients.
Yes.
Okay. Is your company an established company right now, Oak Tree? Is that a company that exists in other counties, in other states, or are you just starting this?
So, thank you. This is our first inpatient facility. Dr. Zaidi has worked in multiple facilities in running them, and also as the clinical director of these facilities. But this is the first time that we are setting it up ourselves. So this would be our first. He has another practice, but this would be the first facility that we
So
set up.
you've already established licensure, LLC, or you've already
Yes, I mean, in terms
determined
of,
that it is a company?
yes, in terms of the company that's purchasing it, that is already an LLC. We are under contract subject to agreement on the rezoning.
Okay, but you're not operational anywhere else? Okay.
No.
I think that
You've got
might
great
be-
questions, by the way, and I will say we've asked most of those, but everybody needs to hear those as well.
Right, and it was very difficult to hear over on the.
I will say they've told me that the sound problem next door is fixed, if anybody needs to go that way.
Okay, I think that's my question.
Thank you for your questions.
Is there anyone on?
Thank you, Ms. Dawn Brewster.
Ring Center
Anyone else would like to
conference?
be next?
Like to speak?
Okay, oh, the line is out there, okay.
Good afternoon.
If you'd like
My
to
name is
participate,
Catherine
unmute
Brown
your
and
mic
I
speak
live in
up.
the area. My concern is, why did you all decide on that location? There is a hospital that's patients,
Yep.
and it seemed like that would be the most useful place to use, rather than trying to make that an inpatient facility.
So, thank you for your question. To begin with, based on what that hospital I'm aware of has some legal problems as well.
They're cleared up at the moment.
Sorry?
Yes, they've been cleared up.
They have been cleared up at the moment. But however, that site is not suitable for our purpose. What we're trying to do is, we have an inpatient retreat facility, so we're offering equine therapy. We need much more acreage in terms of space than what that site is offering, because it is going to be, we are complementing the medical, clinical side of things, which is what you would associate as a hospital, and with other therapies, which are, you could associate more as a retreat. So when you combine these two, I think that is where people need the space, they need to be comfortable in the surroundings, based on all the different therapies that we're going to offer. This particular site fits our bill, because that is the sort of acreage that we need for our sites.
Okay, it
Yeah.
might fit your bill, but what would that do for our neighborhood and the taxes and everything? And not only that, to say you're fencing in, because I mean, I'm just a street over, and it concerns me that that type of facility would be put in our neighborhood. Even I have property just across the road. So how would that affect my if I decided to do something with my property or my home, how would that affect the taxes of that? It's gonna drop.
So what's going to drop?
The value of it would drop, I believe, if that facility is there across the street.
I'm afraid I can't. You know, I mean, if you're articulating that the value of your facility would drop, of your houses would drop, and you're saying that type of facility. Now, what is that type of facility? What I've tried to hopefully explain over here, that the facility that we are building is going to be secure, and if anything, it is generating economic activity in the region. If there's any, you know, we're generating taxes, we're generating jobs, and we're engaging the community through those other channels that I've mentioned. Now, I don't know what that does to your property. I don't think it should adversely impact it. But look, I mean, that is an opinion. You can disagree with me, right? I mean, I respectfully, I can disagree with you as well. So, you know, this site, basically what you're talking about is something which has not been used in the past 4 years, right? There's nothing there. And effectively what we're trying to, there is something there, but in terms of in terms of productively using it, we are trying to bring something into the community, which I think would be a net positive. And I think based on the jobs that we're generating, I could also argue that there'll be more demand for your house, you know, because there could be more people who might want to rent or buy. There could be people coming in, right? But you know, that is your opinion, and I can't.
Okay, this is a residential area, so we don't need something. I'm not sure what it would be classified as, but I know I live in a residential area, and all around it is residential, and then to put something in that's out of what we already have, it's just not feasible to me.
I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to debate on this topic.
Do you have any other
Have you
questions?
looked at any other areas other than the Williston Middle School area?
So in terms of looking at other areas, naturally, you know, we do scout. I do think that this is a site where we bring the most value to the community, and also for us. So
I don't know who sold you all that.
So I mean, it's not naturally, you know, we do have the resources. We would want to be based over here, because I think it works. It works from a few different perspectives. As I said, there is Veterans Military Hospital not very far. There are other hospitals, and I think we can add value. So as a location, it works. If you know, I mean, if the question is whether we look at other places, yes, we found this to be a suitable one. If it doesn't work out, I mean, we will naturally look at other places as well, right? I mean, it's not.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Brown. I think there's a line out the door if you want to get in it. Oh, there's not a line, they're just standing there. You can make your way forward.
And I've known you for a little now, I'm real happy about it.
Here. You'll have to pick that up. Pick that mic up, please.
Brian Reynolds.
Weathers.
Thank you.
You have to pick it way up.
I just had a couple questions. I understand the full profit. I understand the full profit concept.
Just hold it in your hand.
Okay.
There you go.
So I understood it was full profit, so I understand the concept behind that and the employment concept. I understand the benefit of that to other people. I understand the purchase point of being a benefit, right? But I'm concerned or confused on what your benefit would be why are you taking interest in annexing a property, something like this? Is my question, especially when it's so controversial with residential. What would the city have to really gain? I mean, I'm curious about that concept.
I can tell you that he's pretty much put the nail on the head. We are not pushing it one way or the other. We individually have opinions. We haven't discussed how we feel as a group yet.
Right.
We all, as you could probably have heard by now already, because I'm not very good at hiding how I feel. As he stated, they would put it on the tax rolls. They
What
are.
would something like that generate for taxes for the community? I mean, that would be kind of an important conversation.
It depends on what the assessment ended up being.
Right, because I mean, he's kind of vague on.
Well, it's hard because as a school, they were a nonprofit and didn't pay taxes either.
Right.
So
Ms. Jones, if I may.
Did I hear somebody? Laura?
Hi.
Yes.
I think currently their taxes are about $40,000 a year, and that's on the vacated property. So it will go.
The county taxes are 40,000?
County.
Okay.
Because the city doesn't get those. But I just wanted to clear up a little bit about the zoning, so everybody's clear. The county is not going to look at this right now because they are redoing their zoning. So they couldn't stop in the middle of that process and come up with another zoning for this type of property. So they had to wait until that's done, and unfortunately it's been delayed. So there are about 3 or 4 more town hall meetings like this to talk about their zoning before they can get that implemented. So that was going to be a few years. Now the city of Williston has zoning that's appropriate for it. And since it is right on the property, on the city line, we wanted to discuss annexing it in, so we would get those city taxes, and so that we get credit for those jobs, because we can get a lot of grants through that. But the county isn't looking at it right now because they don't have any zoning. So it's kind of a long process for them to get the zoning changed.
Right, yeah. So another question I have is, when you guys make a decision, how will that decision be arrived by? Will it be a vote between the councilmen?
Yes, sir.
It will be.
Yeah.
So the community will not actually have the role play. It will
They
be your
won't.
opinions.
They will not, except that we're listening to every word you say. That's why we stopped in our tracks and said, come tell us what you think. Because even though it's in the county, it affects them.
Right.
And some of the neighborhoods are in the city. I know New York subdivision is not in the city. Cherry Point and all the area around it is in the city.
Right.
And down that road is in the city, I mean in the county, but we know,
Will annexation only stop at that property, or will there be a continuous, say for instance, BP, the houses in between the city property and
I can
will
tell
those
you-
all be annexed into?
they have asked for voluntary annexation, which is a totally different issue. We are not going out making them.
No, I get it, but
And
what
putting
about
it
people
to a
in
vote.
between the two zones?
They would have to ask for, voluntary annexation, or we would have to go out and annex them.
So,
Ms. Jones is waving her hand again.
We will not be asking other people to annex in, however, we have gotten some requests, and we can't unless it's right on the edge of our city limits. So if there's
it has
a,
to be touching property.
yes, sir,
Yeah.
so this would bring some people in if they wanted to, and since we do
But
get
if they
the,
didn't want to, they'd have the option not to.
it's voluntary annexation, the city doesn't go after
Okay, that's- yeah, I
annexation.
just wanted to
And as it
clarify.
exists right now, the road that the middle school is on,
Right.
I don't know the number of that road, so I'm sure
There's
somebody.
13,
Thank you so
331.
much. The west side of that road is in the city limits, the east side is not in the city limits. So it's really hard for our police officers, for one thing, to patrol in that area because one side of the road is in the city limits, the other side is not. This would not completely, it would leave part of it out still and put part of it in. It's really an odd, not exactly an enclave, but it's a really odd configuration if it was only this property. So that's a very good question. If there are other people that have asked for annexation, I'm unaware of that, and I don't know where they are. In the past, the BP did talk to us about it, the Marathon Station, as well as one other property out there, but they never presented their paperwork. It's what you call a petition of voluntary annexation that has to be turned in,
Right.
and the fee paid for us to consider it. And that's essentially all it takes, other than, as Ms. Jones said, it has to be on the property line and move forward from there.
Yeah, I want to direct my next question to him now. So while we were talking earlier, I don't know, I randomly just used Google Maps to direct rehabilitation to the nearby. There's 27 of them within 20 miles.
Yes.
You follow what I'm saying? So I don't feel like there's a crucial point of necessity for patients in this area. So there's 3 in Bronson, 3 in Williston now. Maybe they're not the same style, but there's plenty of avenues now for people who have addiction problems and possibly any other kind of counseling problems. I live on the road also. I don't see how it could benefit anybody who is directly in contact with it. Within neighborhoods of it, I don't see how it could benefit myself or my neighbors.
All right.
I wouldn't want a Holiday Inn to be there, let alone a mental clinic of any sort. With the problems we have in America today, I'm not saying these people don't need help, but I'm saying there's a way better place to put it than in a family residential area.
Thank you. And I can tell you, if he had come speaking about the hospital property, we probably wouldn't be here at all. Because we would probably be trying to figure out how to help him do that. And I don't know if you know, the hospital has a whole piece of vacant land on the end that's just nice green grass for an equine horse therapy. It's part of the property. Okay, yes, sir, if you will state your name.
My name is Norman James, and I live here in Williston. My concern is safety. You say your facility is going to be secured, but what are going to be your requirements for patients to leave? Are they going to be free to just check out whenever they want, walk up and down the streets and go wherever they like, or what?
No. So if they wanted to terminate the treatment, if this is an inpatient facility, they can voluntarily terminate the treatment. In which case, yes and no. We would arrange for the transport to go back then. Because they're coming through different referrals. We would have security, we have staff over there. We would arrange for them to be taken back to their domicile of origin.
So what you're saying is they can't freely leave at their own will at no time?
No, I mean there would be security. I mean if there are processes, right? Because I don't want to say that we're not detaining them. That's one thing, right? So we're not going to.
Detaining them, that means they're free to leave when they want.
No, because I don't think.
Oh, is that how we stop?
Yes, we would have to talk to them through our medical staff. We would have to talk to their next of kin, and we would say our security is here because they're coming through with families, right? That's what's happening, and we would contact the families and we'd say this person is going back. They can't simply walk up and down the street. We just wouldn't allow it. Right? But if they wanted to climb out,
they said, I'm ready to leave, I don't want to be here anymore, I'm going out the door. What could you do to stop them?
We would tell them.
Please tell them. Not enough.
We can, like you are looking, sorry. I don't want to lose audience over here, but what you're talking about is an extremely fringe case, right? You're talking about an extreme outlier.
The safety guys will be able to leave whenever they're ready. We have our kids and our wives and daughters, everyone living there.
Absolutely, I have two young kids as well.
Would you live next door to them?
Yes.
You would?
I would.
Live next
because
door to them?
with the
You
facility,
leave and go to the grocery store and leave your kids outside playing in the yard while they're there?
I think there is a profound misunderstanding on the nature of people that
It's
are
not a
coming over
misunderstanding.
here.
That's all my questions.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you for your questions.
Hi, my name's Kelly Stevens. I live less than a quarter of a mile from the proposed site. My grandchildren will be the 6th generation to live on the same piece of property. This is a nice residential area. The people that live in this community, we know each other. We're on a first name basis with one another. I noticed 2 discrepancies in what you said and what you wrote here that I want to point out. First of all, your paperwork here says we expect to have at least 50 employees. What you stated numerous times was 100 employees. So which one is it, 50 or 100?
It is 100. We have done
the old handout.
We have the old handouts effectively. So it is 100 employees that we're looking to have.
Secondly, you stated here that you would agree to budget $100,000 towards the construction of the community park.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but I can't build a shed for $100,000 today. I mean, honestly, we can't replace a gymnasium and something that's benefiting our children for $100,000. Not that is your responsibility.
Yeah.
However, I would like to say too, I'm not only here as a resident, I'm here because I have the pleasure of serving as a local principal. Many of the students whose families I serve live in that area. and it is a relatively safe area. I see my students riding bicycles all around there. I see them out playing football in the yards. And I can tell you right now, what we're gonna see is what I've had the misfortune of having to visit Meridian in Gainesville, because I also happen to be a foster mom and an adoptive mom, and I've had to take some of my former foster children to Meridian in Gainesville. And if any of you have ever had the misfortune of having to visit that place, you will see what it is. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't go over there without packing.
I'll just add to that, Ms. Stevens, that I was a board member for Meridian for probably 5 or 6 years. And I've been to not only the Gainesville campus, but also their Lake City campus. I am familiar with the ins and outs of what goes on those campuses. I know Mr. Mirza and I have had this discussion already. What I worry about, and he tells me it's not what they're all about, is the methadone clinic, where people come and go every day to get the methadone, which is very needed. I mean, they need it when they need it. It's better than what they were doing before that. But I certainly don't want this to turn into that.
And that's not.
And that's not what we do. You're telling me that's not at all.
That's not at all what we do.
Yeah.
So.
I couldn't. Once it was licensed and there, that you couldn't. I mean, if the VA hospital needed a methadone clinic or anybody else, I think that they would be licensed to do that.
I would think so too.
Ms. Jones, if I may, just to clear it up, actually no, because the rehabilitation aspect of this is what's gonna get them zoning, but a drug clinic is completely different, so that would have to go through a totally different, thing. We don't have zoning for a drug methadone clinic, and we would have to create that.
Okay.
So it's actually legal in the city of Williston.
I don't know what zoning we have because you haven't discussed it with us the past few weeks.
For what?
I don't know what zoning they would fit into.
They're fitting into a special exception for whichever zoning we think is best for the neighborhood.
That's why I don't know about it. It's a special exception. Okay. In the commercial category, special exception.
It can be in commercial.
I know we have zoning for hospitals. I don't know that we do.
Yeah. But we do not have zoning for drug clinics, and we would have to add that if we wanted to have
to me, this is a drug clinic.
No, it's not. It's a rehabilitation center.
But you could add it though, correct?
But Laura, they're giving them drugs.
Could I add
what do you
it?
think they're doing? What do you think they do at a recovery center? They give them drugs to help them. That's just that they're not going in and out, they're staying there. So you're split worse. Yes, ma'am, if you will, pick up the mic. And tell us who you are, welcome. Glad to see you.
Hi, my name is Dorothy Hines, and I currently live in Cherry Point.
Can't hear you. Yeah, you gotta pick it up, there you go.
Is that better? My name is Dorothy Hines, and I currently live in Cherry Point, and I have a couple questions, and probably a statement or two. The first question is, and I'm not sure if you can answer or will answer it, what is the projected price that you're paying for this facility?
Sorry.
What you're paying for the property is what she's asking you.
Okay. Is that? I'm not sure if I mean, sure.
The property is listed for $3 million.
Say again?
The property is listed for $3 million.
Yeah.
And we're not under contract yet.
Okay. So you have potential of spending $3 million on that property, right?
Just on the purchase.
Okay. So what is your projected cost of renovating that facility?
That would be a phased construction cost. It could run in, depending on the contract that we give in and which phases we split it in. But yes, we could expect to spend another one, on a timer phase, 1 to 2 million on certain select buildings, maybe more once the site is fully operational. Yeah.
So it would be safe to say that you're going to spend anywhere from $5 to $10 million at that facility. Or more.
Well, it would be definitely less than that. I mean, we're a small business. We can't afford.
You said initially, but you plan to add.
Adding
is going to increase costs, correct?
Yeah. should increase it, but I think you know you'd probably land somewhere closer to the 5 mark. 5 million mark.
Okay. And then you propose to give $100,000 to the park to help with a basketball court, right?
Which a court is not needed. A court is not needed. They need a gymnasium.
I was trying to say the court's already there.
Okay. So, I mean, basically what I'm getting at is you're getting ready to spend anywhere from $5 to $10 million on a facility in a residential area, even though at this point it is in the county, but you're coming before this board, this council, asking that it be annexed in for that for your sole purpose. My issue at this point is I live right next door. There's a lot of people who are in here that live right next door. They have elderly parents that live right next door that can't get up and leave whenever they feel like it, or sell just because, you know, things are not working out well in the neighborhood because of what has been placed there. So I think at this point what I'm trying to say to you is I don't think the citizens want to be bought. Right. You know, the way that you're trying to do it. Property taxes, property values will decrease. Okay. Crime will increase. Homelessness will increase. So all these benefits that you're saying that you're bringing to the table, for me, and I don't know about the rest of the citizens, but these benefits that you're talking about bringing to the table are far more not needed than the benefits that we have. You know, yes, you may be bringing in jobs, but it will cost. You know? You may be bringing in revenue to the city, but at what cost? Cost of lives of citizens who have spent their time, their energy, their livelihood making a home here. If we wanted to live in a city next to a drug rehab facility, we would move there. Right? So I think when you talk about the benefits of what you're proposing, you need to look at the lives that you're going to disrupt with your proposal. And if the community means that much to you, then maybe you need to rethink where you want to have this facility. Right?
I hear you. You're passionate. I pretty much disagree with a lot of things because I think that is just conjecture. But look, I respect you. You are firmly rooted in this community. This is where you live. This is where a lot of the people who've come over here, you know, a lot of generations are rooted in this area. Part of the reason why we're doing this, I understand, and I respect your opinion. Do I need to agree with it? Absolutely not. And I don't, because I think what you're doing is you're looking at this facility, thinking that this is some sort of a, you know, some Armageddon that we're going to create over there, while what we're saying is that we are in fact having a heavy focus on certain hospitals, people coming in through this inpatient channel, and we will be treating them and returning them. This will be a very decent facility, contrary to, you know, some of the other facilities that have been pointed out. Now you can believe me or not, but I think in terms of the benefits that are there, I've listed them, so I don't think I'm going to repeat. So.
And that's fine. You don't have to repeat because you are a businessman, and at this point, what matters to you is business. The bottom line is dollars. You know, so it's okay that you don't agree with me. Most of the people in here don't agree with you. You know, you're just one person, and we are many, right? So that being said, you don't have to agree with us at all. But we're here to let you know how we feel. We're here to let you know that this is not what we want in our community. We are here standing very united to say a drug rehab council is not what we want. And we ask that you stand behind us and make sure that we do not annex it in. And then when it comes back to going to the county, what we do today, we need to do again.
All right.
To make sure that it does not happen. This is one avenue. This is one step. We got to continue to move. We got to continue to fight. Because as long as we sit down and allow things to happen, things are going to happen. Right? So, that being said, thank you. I would like to know from the chief.
Which chief? Police chief. Police chief. I got a police chief and a fire chief.
Chief of police. Knowing what the proposal is and that there may be an increase in crime, nothing is for certain, nothing is sure. How is that going to affect you, especially being annexed in? How is that going to affect your department, your manpower? How are you and the city going to be affected by this facility?
Well, just so you know, I spoke with the gentleman today on several different occasions, and one of the big things I mentioned to him was security for the community. And he assured me that he has proper security. But when I look at his breakdown of his staff, for his security officers, he has a total of 6.
On 3 shifts.
2 per shift.
3 or 4 shifts, I don't know. But there's a total of 6, which to me is a great concern, not only for my department, but also for this city. And we spoke about this earlier today. So if you're asking me, how's it going to affect my department? One, I don't have the manpower to properly maintain this facility, which we know, as the gentleman stated earlier, if they walk out, you're not detaining them. So that means that we're going to detain them, or we're going to have to come deal with them. And they're free to go, so they're going to walk out the door, look left, and say Ocala's 30 miles, look right, and say Williston's a half a mile. Where do you think they're going?
Yeah. I mean, and we had that discussion earlier today as well, so I can, if there's any concern on the staff breakdown, we could always talk about this. You know, if you thought that this was, you know, you would expect us to see more, for us to have more security over there. I mean, that's a sober discussion we could have. That's not an issue. The other point over here is, again, as I said, what we have dwelled upon is a very fringe case of someone just going out. I don't think that is going to be the case. There are other facilities off Isle whereby this does not happen. While we don't physically detain them, there is a process. There's an enough delay process for us to take them through. But it's, you know, that's my counter to this.
We have a great community here, and I'm not against you at all.
Yeah.
We have a great community, and the citizens of Williston pay their taxes to have this quality of services that they get from us currently now. Will your facility add a strain to that? Yes, it will. I've been in law enforcement over 30 years. I've dealt with facilities of yours. So is this gentleman right here next to me, our city manager. And you can say it won't happen, but it will happen. So, and my job as the police chief is to protect my citizens and this city and the reputation of this city. And that's where
I respect that. I respect that. Yeah.
Have you ever tried to detain a mentally unstable person before?
Sorry, can you address the question?
If you want to get in line, you can have a conversation. Anything else, Ms. Hines?
Yes, so the question was, have you ever tried to detain a mentally ill person?
So, are you asking me, from our perspective, we have a team that has done that before. But Dr. Zaidi has run these facilities over a period of time, and it is something that we have done prior to that. So there are different ways of dealing with that. There's also like the medical options that they can resort to, and also that there are other options available. So it is, it's not entirely unusual that that sort of thing doesn't continue.
They're talking to a nurse at a VA hospital, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Hines. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Charlene James, and I live in Williston, been here a little while. My question to you is, are you going to be accepting inmates from the Department of Corrections that have been sentenced to 2 years followed by 1 year drug offender inpatient treatment?
We are not going to take any inmates within our facility, because that is not what we're about. No inmates, no anyone who's if I understand it correctly, are you talking about anyone serving a sentence and whether we would take them in?
Probation.
After they're incarcerated, they get a probation.
They get a probation, and part of their treatment is that they enter into a residential treatment facility. Will you be accepting those kind of patients?
No, the only patients.
Okay, you said the VA. That's all you've been saying is the VA. The VA are the only type of people that you're going to be receiving at your facility. My question to you, what kind of insurance are you going to be accepting? Because Mending Fences is down the road. Maybe a lot of people may not even know about Mending Fences, but it's right down the road. It's the same program that you're trying to bring into our community. It's less than 20 miles. So I feel that if they need this treatment, if they can afford it, that's why I asked what kind of insurance you're going to accept, because Mending Fences is like $20,000 a month. And if you don't have insurance to pay for it, you're not going to get in there. So what benefit is this going to bring to people in our community, or you say you're going to bring people from surrounding areas out of state if they can afford it? But it's not a lockdown facility, correct? You got security, but it's not a lockdown facility. Therefore, they can get up in the middle of the night, leave if they want to. If it's not a lock, I don't care. I work in the prison system. If it's not locked down, you can leave. I do not care if you're gonna be on the phone calling the chief. So now we have to feel that we got to leave a full tank of gas in our car and our keys in our car when we go to bed, so nobody harms our family. Just get the car and go on about your business. That's the way you want to live. That's where you present it. You want to bring this. But what about our safety? You keep saying you got security. He just said 6 people. You can't run one pod with 30 inmates with 6 people.
I mean, the question is, your analogy doesn't stack up, because what you're talking about is, inmates versus medically vulnerable patients.
They are medically
and you're comparing life for life. So yes, but are they just as dangerous?
About mental health. Have you ever tried to do a mental health person? A mental health person that wears 50 pounds, when they're off their med, it's like they're wearing 300. Okay. You do have the manpower. Are you going to have the manpower and the staff to subdue that person? But you can't, because they're not ordered to stay there. Yeah, the site can order them a shot. Y'all can give them a shot, calm them down, or whatever. But when it might work and it may not work. But if they want to leave that facility and come down Northeast 11th Street or Northeast 4th Avenue, and I live on the corner, they want to come to my house. How are you going to prevent this? What do you have to prevent this? Nothing. Not no 6 security officers are not going to do it. If you want to bring something like this to our community, it needs to be a lockdown, secure facility. And I don't want to be annexed in the city.
So what neighborhood do you live in?
I don't call my neighborhood. I'm right next to the Cherry Point.
Aren't you already in? I think
one address is 4231 Northeast 203rd Court. That's the city.
Oh, that's Not the city.
That's not the city. That's one address I have.
What's the
That's
other?
address I have. It's 257 Northeast 11th Street.
That is in the city.
Well, what you gonna bring
So you're
out
in the
there?
city already.
My question, what you gonna bring out there besides this facility? You gonna get a Burger King out there? You spending all this money to get your facility going, but you offered $100,000 for a basketball court. There's a difference between a gymnasium and a basketball court. I could put a court in my backyard.
Now, the $100,000 is a contribution towards this.
We don't need
towards
your
this park.
contribution, not $100,000. If you wanna do something, take your big bright idea and put it somewhere where someone wants it. Go out there in Wilson Highlands, there's plenty of available property.
Let's hear it. If not, somebody else's turn.
We do not want your program here. I don't think it's very beneficial for the people or the safety of our community.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Carmelos Brown. Most of you know me as Carl Brown. I'm a prior veteran, 21 years of service. And for all of you that don't know, veterans are not a harm to anybody. We're some of the most disciplined people that you know. We are trained to protect all of you. Some of the benefits that y'all have is because of sacrifices that we make. And for me to be from Williston and hear how you all feel about veterans, you saying veterans are harmful to you all in the community.
The one with drug problems.
That's what I heard.
Well, you heard it.
And that's not true. My question is for Mr. Lamb.
Yes.
For the gym that's provided, who is paying for the bills to allow the kids to be there at their gym? So none of the churches,
I was
none of
actually
the
gonna bring that up.
communities are helping you foot that bill? Not at all?
Yep.
Okay.
If there's a $40,000 tax bill, somebody needs to help Corey pay it. I mean, that's why he's trying to sell it, I would think.
I'll be honest and I'll tell you that the property is for sale and it's gonna be for sale until it's sold. I spend about $100,000 a year in maintaining the property. That's from mowing, that's utilities, that's insurance and everything else. And I don't get help from anyone. We pick up the trash and we do everything else. So unfortunately, until something changes with the property, it's gonna be for sale. And I mean, we may not support this, but someone's gonna buy it or it's gonna end up like the old Winn-Dixie. And I can tell you now, the kids are breaking into the back, they're busting out all the windows, they're vandalizing the buildings in the back.
Not our kids that are home trained.
But that's the same problem.
Oh.
Really?
No, I'm saying, yes, really. Because someone is doing it.
That's the same problem.
Stick to the questions, if you will.
With the old high school that was right up the street from the police department. And I mean, it's just a part of doing business.
Thank you for what you're doing. And like you said, it will be sold. I think everybody's unanimous, and I think I know how the vote will go. But change in Williston needs to happen.
Not that way.
It don't have to happen like that. That's fine. I'm not trying to dictate how it happens, but we have to be more respectful and open-minded when it comes to change.
You got 9 rooms at the hospital up there. He didn't go up there. Rooms over there for you.
Comment from the audience, please. If you'd like to come to the podium, you can. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Jackie Gore. I live right up the road here in Williston from the middle school. Lived here about a year and a half, moved here back to Florida from Tennessee. Picked this area because of a small town, equine community. You say the facility is going to be mostly for veterans. I'm a daughter of a veteran, granddaughter of a veteran. What's the actual percentage of inpatients that you will have at the facility of veterans?
It's very hard for me to give you a hard percentage. The only thing I can say is that my business partner has been working with veterans at Fort Myers. Dr. Zadie's been working with them over there. He still continues to work at veterans facilities. the point that he's made very clear is that this background that he's had of treating veterans and this, mental health and substance abuse, he would like to create this facility and effectively have a dedicated wing over there. So our preference at all times would be veterans. He has also contacted the Veterans Hospital in Gainesville through his own private channels, and they are very positive. There was some talk about mending fences. I mean, those guys have like 21 beds, that's it. There is a real need for what we're trying to do. It's not going to be 21 bed facility, that doesn't cover anything in terms of inpatient. So that is our focus, and that's what we want to do.
I mean, the percentage of veterans is what I would like just to know, because I feel like you're directing it and using it as a scope gate, like, we're gonna do these veterans. I have a child, he's grown now, he has mental health issues.
Absolutely.
It was not fun, I wish there would have been some kind of facility, but I know what my child is capable of too.
Sure.
And I wouldn't want a facility in a neighborhood, because I know how hard it was for us to raise him, detain him. You say you focus on inpatient, but you have on here that you do extensive outpatient treatment.
Yeah.
So you talk about trying to keep the patients in the facility, you can't detain them, but you have outpatient ones. They can roam the neighborhood without a problem.
But this is people further along the curve of recovery. So people who are there and they want to be engaged, so we have different ways, whether this is done remotely in terms of outpatient, right, where they're wherever they're residing, or if they wanted to come visit us for certain treatments, that's something we could do as well. The point there is, it is not. I don't want you to be cynical about the fact that we're using veterans. What I have repeated many times is that Dr. Zaidi has well over a decade of experience treating veterans. I mean, the record speaks for itself. From our perspective, everything that we've seen is the veterans that don't have an issue on, the main issue that these facilities, the veteran hospitals, and that they have is the lack of facilities like ours. And that's where the problem is. It's not about the insurance coverage, it's not about anything else. It's about that we just don't have enough facilities like ours, credible facilities that are really investing in these people and trying to give them a second chance.
So you said also, I want to go on to the hospital. You said it's not suitable because there's not enough acreage. President, she stated that there is acreage available.
It's the whole
You want
block.
to house, how
Whole
much
block.
acreage is actually at the middle school now? How much is that?
20 acres.
20 acres? How much is that already built up? You talk about housing equines. I mean, horses need a lot of acreage to graze. Why wouldn't you use the hospital and outsource some of the local equine facilities for therapy and bring them in, and that would benefit also the community in different programs. There's all artists, there's all different therapists that can come to the facility, and you're giving back to the community in that way by using those businesses.
I mean, that is a plausible proposition. We have thought the pros and cons of different things, and what you're saying is, I'm not dismissing that at all. That is very, very plausible. The issue that we had was, we came to this conclusion based on the facility, the site, the building structure that's there, the potential of the site, the land acreage that's there. And it just fit the bill overall, right? I mean, the area isn't very densely populated. It is good for, it is good for our patients. But look, I wouldn't dismiss what you're saying at all, right? I mean, it's a valid point. As have other valid points been, despite the fact I was vilified for some weird reason. I mean, hey guys, I'm actually quite a nice guy. So, and I really, I'm not an evil capitalist coming over, trying to take over your community. I have profound and deep respect for your community and the roots that you have over here. The point was, I wanted to come here and make a positive case for you and tell you why this works, right? Why this works for us. We did our calibrations, we thought this works, right? We've spoken to different people. We have a blueprint on how this, how we could repurpose those buildings. And the question was, okay, what can we do if we're taking away something over there, which Corey is providing, I believe, for free? The idea was that, okay, how can we replace that, right? And, the next person that comes in, if it's not me, I can guarantee you, there's no guarantee they're going to offer the sort of community engagement that I offered over here, even though it was cynically lapped up as, me trying to buy the community, even though that is not the case at all. What I've done is, in fact, come over and say, look, let me make a concerted effort. I've got little kids as well. If there's an opportunity for kids, if they're being deprived from some facility, let's see how we can provide something alternative and make this work. And I think what we offered was very generous.
And I hate to cut you short, Ms. Moore, but we have 10 minutes until a regular council meeting starts. And this item is not on our agenda, but if you have a different question or a different perspective, let's hear it now. Got 10 minutes. Yes, sir.
10 minutes.
Not for just you. There's other people behind you. If you will, pick up the microphone and state your name and your city of residence.
Yes, my name is James Davis.
Thank you, sir.
U.S. Army retired. I'm from Williston. I'm a fourth generation Davis. You are talking about veterans. I'm a 20-year veteran. 100%.
Pick your mic up, please.
We don't need you. We have a facility 19 miles away. Brand new, they built it.
Are you talking about Benton Fences?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, this is not directed at you, but I'm just saying, as a veteran facility.
So the capacity on that facility is 21 beds.
Okay.
That facility does not have the capacity that the Veterans Hospital has, needs, all veterans in general need. Right?
I'm not going to debate with you, but being a veteran, we have everything we need. We need more money. Now, for the council and for the gentleman that for $3 million, we can get grant money. We can buy this and put a community center over there at that school, something that everybody in the community can use. And I guarantee you, we can get our money back. So I'm like Morgan, we're gonna say Mo, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, can we get some grant money, buy this school, and we can take it from there, and we'll make a community center over there.
Yeah, if he was a boys,
I would like to respond to that.
I was gonna say, if he was a Boys and Girls Club, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
That's it.
So I agree with you 100%, but unfortunately you're talking to the wrong group. So the county offered this property to the city for $1, and because of liability, the city didn't want it.
We done heard that story.
I agree with you. I'm with you on the same story.
We heard that story.
Hey,
but we got enough people in here right now to listen at it. And we want a community center, and we can come up with grant money with the city council, Mr. Ross, Mayor. We can come up with grant money, and we can get $3 million. We can buy you out, and we put a facility over there, a community center, something that everybody needs. We got kids, or girl and boys would be ideal for that area. We can develop that, and we get our money back.
Then we can have adult leagues and kids leagues. Anybody else around the corner or in this audience? We've got about 5 minutes.
I want to say something real quick.
I know someone has spoken already.
I don't have anything to say to you because the building has not been sold. We're talking like it has been sold. I'm talking to Corey who wants to sell it. You willing to sell out your community because you was raised in that community because your babysitter lived in that community. So you mean to tell me you're willing to sell out your community for $3 million? Is it worth it to you? Because you don't have to live there anymore. So it's okay for you. But think about the kids that's coming up and growing up in that community and you taking money over them. Is it worth it? I'm talking to you, not him.
You can use that mic.
Okay, just one
All right,
moment.
so listen, guys.
Corey, I'm sorry, just one moment.
So,
Ma'am, I need your name, please.
Marilyn Johnson, I'm sorry. And I lived in the community for 34 years. I've been living there.
So my name's Corey Lamb. Listen, the property's for sale. People have come to buy the property, and these are the first people that have taken the necessary steps to try to purchase the property. I'm not pushing anyone to buy it. I'm not pushing anyone to do anything. All I have is a piece of property that I've spent a significant amount of money in.
But you knew that when you bought it.
Okay, I
Okay,
did.
then, okay,
And
I'm
I'm
gonna let you
maintaining the
finish,
property.
but
I don't need you to talk to him in that
Okay.
manner. If you have a question, you can ask it.
I'm gonna ask him a question.
I'll let him
You finish.
answer.
I'm gonna let
before
him
you
answer,
do.
and I'm gonna let you finish.
Okay.
Would you want your kids, if it was next to your home, would you feel comfortable with your kids living where this facility is? Tell the truth, be on the truth thing. Would you feel comfortable if you, because you have kids? Would it be okay for you?
Again, they are purchasing the property. They're here taking the necessary steps to see if they can put this here.
That's not what I asked you.
Okay.
I said, would you feel comfortable for being next to your kids in your neighborhood? Yes or no? That's all I need to know.
To be honest with you, if they came in and they purchased the property, if it was annexed and there was nothing I could do about it, there's nothing I could do about it. Would I particularly ask for somebody to come and put a facility next to my house? No. But again, that's why I moved my house out there. So right now, my house is in the country. I live in the country. So listen.
You better make it quick.
Okay, I am. I got one more thing. Go finish, baby. Finish, honey.
And remember, you're supposed to be talking to us, not him.
No, because for some reason go ahead.
Thank you. It just makes it a little less
Okay,
adversarial.
let him finish. Let him finish.
I'm trying.
So right now, because I have a piece of property that I've allowed to be used for the past 4 years or however long it's been, I'm being vilified because somebody's coming forward wanting to purchase this property. That's incredible to me, but that's fine.
Okay,
So,
Miss Brown that was up here earlier.
Remember, you're talking to me.
Oh, Miss Brown that was up here earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
She can't afford to move her home like he did. She have grandkids. I have grandkids that ride their bicycles. You think I'm gonna let my grandkids ride their bicycle when that facility open? No. And a lot of people live in that neighborhood. They don't have cars. Their kids have to walk to Dollar General or walk to Hitchcock to get what they need. So you think I would want my child walking by this facility? But how they gonna get what they need? And like he said, these people can walk out at any moment. Any moment. I live out there. I called the Levy County Sheriff's Department one time. It was an hour and a half before they got there. And then what happened was gone. It was too late. So he already said, the chief already saying, it's going to be hard on on them. So what are we supposed to do? What if our kids get killed at $3 million? Oh, hey, I got my money. Your child did. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about safety. Right?
I appreciate it.
So can I go back and finish what I was saying?
Cool.
So again, I have the property for sale. There have been many people that's come to purchase the property, and this is just one group that has come forward to ask questions. I'm not sure how I got vilified on this, but that's fine. I'll take it, no problem. But listen, so here.
What are some of the other groups that came to purchase?
I need no conversation
They're not
from the
interested in it.
background.
They didn't have the funding,
Corey,
so it's not
don't
for
talk-
it.
don't
But
talk
here,
now.
but here we go. So this is what's ultimately going to happen. The property is going to continue to fall in disrepair. It's going to continue to be vandalized. It's going to end up like the old one Dixon. The roof's going to cave in on it, and no one's going to have use of it. Or someone can come in, regardless of what group it is, purchase it, renovate it, and do something for the communities there. Because if you want to talk about losing property value, put the old one Dixie right next to your house and see what kind of property value you have. If you're talking about somebody, regardless of what this may not be what we want, and hey, I can't tell him to come there, and I can't tell him not to go there, but I can tell you if he's willing to come in and invest $5 to $10 million into a facility that's right next to your house, that's going to be a lot more property appreciation than the old Winn-Dixie. So now, that's fine, but just telling you.
I'll say again to this audience, we need to be helping Corey, not vilifying him. He is a friend of the community. We don't need to be treating him that way.
No, I'm sorry if I came off the wrong way.
Well, I don't need your conversation right now anymore.
Well, I'm sorry,
But we
Corey,
do need to help him with the situation. He was trying to help this community, and he has helped this community. There have been a lot of children who have come through that facility that he's helped, and the people that are with him have helped. And we just need to know that he's doing all this $100,000 and $40,000 a year in taxes. So personally, out of his own pocket. So we need to remember that and help him in any way we can. Especially if we want to prevent it from falling in the wrong hands. Are you the only one around that corner that needs to say anything? Okay, go ahead, Ms. Hines. You can repeat.
All right. Again, Darkness Hines, City of Wilson. Quick question for you, Corey. Can I address him? It's not, no animosity. Do you want to sell this facility? Would you be willing to keep the facility if someone helped you to get grants and turn it into a facility for the community? Is that an option?
So I've gone down this road kind of with the city before, and I've asked these questions. We've asked about grants, and I was told that the grant money wasn't there. So let's go back to this.
I will say this is a totally different council than when you approached them before.
But
I know there's at least 3 new people sitting here. Because I never knew that.
All I can tell you is what was here. So I can tell you that the county came to me when this property came for sale. They came to me knowing that I was on the seat and knowing that I had a passion for the kids and knowing that I had use of the gym. They asked me if I would help to facilitate the city taking over this property for $1. Again, y'all say, I've heard that story, I really don't care. I'm telling it again. So,
I haven't heard it, I'm glad to hear it.
So the city said that because of the liability, along with the old police chief, not Chief Rolls, that because this was outside of the city limits, and because of the location, that they had no interest in this property. The city council walked these buildings, they looked at the computers and laptops and desks and stuff that the county left in there from the school board, and they were just overwhelmed with what was there, but did not look at the property. So the city walked away from what was valued about 2 years ago, a $5.7 million piece of property that would have been given to them for $1 and could have been made a community center and a youth facility for the kids. And they decided to walk away from that.
So my question is not city, you.
Me. So
if you had backing, if you had people that would come together, work with you to get grants, you could actually probably turn that facility, turn that building into a historical site.
I agree.
Money.
But listen, the historical site only works for the buildings that are old enough for historical value. So those are the buildings that are in the worst shape on that property. They have external HVAC, which will need to be replaced. The only thing that's standard on those buildings is the walls, the floors, and the roof. So you're talking about extensive renovations. As far as someone coming in and getting grants to run that facility and operate that facility and make it for the community, make it where it's not coming out of my pocket and I can at least make a little bit of change on it, I have no doubt that's a no-brainer, because everybody here knows that I've always wanted it to be a community center, and I've always wanted a gym for the kids. That goes back to when I sat right there in that seat in a different building, the building that stood here. That's never changed. But the one thing that I will not do is to continue entertaining local groups that want to come and say, hey, we want to help you, or hey, we want to come do something for free, because nothing's for free. I can't afford to keep carrying it and then want to go off of your dream of what we could do in the future.
Okay.
There is no future.
I can tell you it's after 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Our council meeting started at 6 o'clock.
I didn't realize that you were not being assisted.
So I would say if you're interested in that, please talk with Mr. Lamb. And Mr. Mirza, I'd say if you're interested in another piece of property, we can talk later.
Madam President,
Ma'am.
I need to read one statement from a resident, please.
You need to read a resident. Okay, I've read a lot of social media posts, by the way.
This was sent to me through email from Daquan Walker. It says, hello, I am a citizen of Williston and would like to voice my opinion on the idea of the Oak Tree Recovery Center. That is not a great idea. This is not a great idea due to the city of Williston not having a high rate of drug abuse. This would not benefit the community in any way, shape, or form. What would benefit the community if we made that a community center for our youth? We need more resources to our people in our community. I would like to discuss ideas to bring great ideas into our community. Thank you, Daquan Walker.
Okay, I would ask very briefly, are there any announcements from this body?
I gotta leave, I wanna say thank you for hearing.
Yes, sir, we're glad y'all came, thank you so much. We wouldn't have wanted to move anywhere, yay or nay, without hearing what the community had to say, whether they were in the city limits or they weren't in the city limits. And we appreciate you all for coming, it meant a lot to us, and I hope that we can take everything into consideration that we've heard you say. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Aye. We will adjourn at 6:05, we will take a 5-minute break before the council meeting starts. Thank you.